In India, there is a folk parable of a king who has a blessing that he cannot be killed by anything born of a living womb. Not by human, not by an animal. Not at day, not at night. Not inside, not outside. Not on land, not in air, not on water. And by no human-made weapon. As you can imagine, because of this, the king becomes extremely arrogant and tyrannical. But in the end, he is killed by a complex figure of the Narsimha, who is neither human nor animal. He is half lion, half human. He is not born of a living womb, but he rips himself out of a column in the palace of this king. He kills him at a threshold, which is neither inside nor outside, at twilight, which is neither day nor night, and with his claws, which is of course not a human-made weapon. Now, this figure of the Narsimha is a very interesting trope to think of Indian urbanism through, particularly this idea of the in-between, where it's possible to think of city forms and systems operating at thresholds, employing multiple logics rather than the clarities of hard-edged systems and forms. Like the Narsimha, the urban realm is unbound, unstable, incoherent. It is formed out of the creative logics of multiple individuals and collectives. City form itself is hybrid, it's corroded, it's blurred, which allows multiple occupancies and agencies within it. Unfortunately, with new forms of urban renewal and planning, some of these creative logics and multiplicities and thresholds are being ironed out. It will be very important for us to think, as we think of the future of cities, how some of these creative logics, thresholds are maintained. Our own conceptual journey has shifted in the last decade or so, from more conventional processes of mapping, finding problems, finding solutions to those problems which are more corrective in nature, to starting to look at cities in much more nuanced ways, trying to find new epistemes, new languages to speak of these cities through, but also finding delight in new engagements in cities. We see ourselves as bards, placing a mirror to the world, but also engaging in cities with all their delight and poetics. I think it's important for us to think of cities in new ways today because our older forms have failed us. The work itself, therefore, crosses disciplinary boundaries. It takes various forms: writing, storytelling, fiction, curation, and also spatial interventions. Ones that work much closely with the nuances of cities and the way cities work themselves out. And I think that's really important, this close-knit, close-grained working with cities as opposed to broad brush ideas that planning often leads us into. The recent pandemics has brought us to a very strange place in the history of humanity. All our conventional forms of organization, our forms of economy, our planning, our systems of health, education have all failed us. The outdoors, which was imagined as a very important thing for cities, has suddenly become a threat. The home was naively imagined as a place to be locked into safely. But we've soon realized that not everyone has those safe homes to be locked into. In the face of this paradox, I think it is the Narsimha form of the city that will come to our rescue in the future. We need to find new porous forms of inhabitation, new forms of collectives, new forms of solidarities. And I think that is the future of cities.